I think that organized labor is a critical voice that we have got to elevate and lift up. I mean, if there is some sense that we need to win in the industrial Midwest and in the heartland, who better to help shape a message and to engage people than our labor partners?
This is Nomi Konst, live for the Young Turks and TYT Politics. We are here in Phoenix at the DNC Forum, where Congressman Keith Ellison just gave a rousing speech to a packed room of supporters. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thanks so much, Nomi, for being here. It was fun.
So this is an unusual event for the Democratic Party, having a heated battle for the DNC chair, the future of the Democratic Party. We are only a few weeks off of the election, which was devastating, and it seems like the conversation is around changing the way, reforming the party. What does reform of the Democratic Party mean to you?
It means rebuilding the trust relationship with the Democratic voter and the potential voter. It means establishing a trust relationship where people really feel like, hey, you know what? I know that Democratic Party is going to protect my Social Security, fight for me to have a better wage, fight for the Affordable Care Act, fight for women, fight for, folks in rural America and urban America, stand up for racial justice, gender justice. I mean, if we establish that trust relationship, the Democratic Party will then reflect the real needs of the people. And so that's what that in sum means. Now, of course, it's not complicated, but it's a detailed plan that we offer. But if you boil it all down, it is earn the trust of the Democratic voter, the potential Democratic voter.
You released a youth engagement strategy today.
Yeah.
When I talk to young people, I was out on the Bernie Sanders campaign talking to all the young people out there, waiting hours in line to see Bernie talk about economic policy for hours.
Right.
And I knew something was happening.
Sure.
But when I asked these young people, do you want to run for office? They were like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's too expensive. I don't know how to raise that money.
So true.
So how are you going to recruit people who are engaged now but aren't millionaires and don't have access to millions of dollars to run for Congress, for local seats?
Well, see, the first thing you got to do in recruitment is just get folks to think, hey, that's something I might want to do. Then we start talking about how we do it. I don't want people to cancel themselves simply because they don't know how. We want to train them and talk. And that part of that is fundraising. Part of that is getting your stump speech tight. Part of that is targeting and just the whole mechanics of campaigning. But what we have to start with is inspiring within that person the sense that I'm going to put myself into the public sphere and promote the public interest as an office holder. I might do it for one term, I might do it for two, I might do it for 10 years, I might do it for 20. But just creating it within the heart of that young activist that elections really do matter and that they're going to combine their demonstrating and their policy advocacy with an electoral outcome. We've got to combine both, right? So that's really what I'm aiming for. If we get them to want to, it's easy from there.
How do you change the institution of the Democratic Party that has been running itself the same way for years, the culture of the Democratic Party?
Well, the Democratic Party is who makes up the Democratic Party, and if we show up, we are the Democratic Party. I mean, the one thing we have to do is a very pragmatic thing, is the Democratic Party has been operating on a very minimalist strategy. What I mean is, we don't really campaign in the blue states because we got them, or we think we do. We don't campaign in the red states because we think we don't have them. We go to the swing states, and then we only talk to the likely voter, and then we only talk to them through television, which is a very passive way to engage anyone. And then mostly the ads are negative. So negative TV ads are basically a strategy to suppress the vote of your opponent. So what we're doing is basically having a very minimalist strategy, and what we have to do is have a 50-state strategy plus. God bless Howard Dean for giving us that, but we've got to go to all the territories. That means 57, that plus Democrats abroad, and we have got to turn on during the off year. That means we have got to engage neighbors 365 days a year in the non-election year. And we've got to do more than just ask people for a vote. We've got to help them sign up for the EITC, the child care credit. We've got to bring them together around issues that they care about. So like, and people are ready for it, right? So you have this wonderful women's march is coming up. Bernie Sanders on the 15th of January our revolution is called a day of action. People are ready to get down. Well, what we want to do is have people, we want to encourage a house meeting system where people can meet in their homes, talk about issues they care about, figure out how to engage in actions that might be going on, so that we can stand up against the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, stand up against the destruction of Planned Parenthood, which they got teed up. Stand up. I mean, they're going to wreak havoc on the American working classes of all colors, right? And so people are ready to do it. They just got to have a way to channel their energy, and we believe the Democratic Party can help provide that. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to say everybody counts, everybody matters all the time, and we're going to engage people all over this country throughout the year.
I asked Twitter what they wanted you to answer, and a couple of days ago there was a vote over lowering the cost of prescription drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And some of our listeners were very frustrated to see Democrats voting with Republicans and some Republicans voting with Democrats. As the DNC chair, how do you deal with Democrats who may not agree on all issues or who may have interests supporting them that go against what maybe other voters agree with?
Politicians see the light when they feel the heat. If you engage the grassroots will put pressure on the politicians to do what the grassroots want them to do. So see, being the DNC chair really is not a policy job. It's more of a politics job. It's my job to engage the people. But once the people are engaged, I know what they're going to say. They're going to want to say they want to increase the minimum wage. They're going to say they want to liberalize these marijuana laws. They're going to say they don't want to pay $8,000 for cancer drugs. They're going to say they want drug importation and reimportation. They want Medicare to be able to negotiate drug prices. I know what the people are going to say. But what we got to do is wake them up and fight the cynicism that says that all them politicians are bought, all them politicians they don't care about me. We got to say, hey, don't worry about them. You care about you. We care about you. Get involved, show up, put the heat on them politicians. They'll do the right thing because they all want to get reelected. And if they think that you demand fair drug pricing, then they will give it to you, or somebody else will.
When they have a primary.
Right.
Would you ban lobbyist money?
Let me tell you, first thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be unilaterally imposing my will on the DNC, right? But I will try to encourage a conversation about how we fund the DNC. And I will promote a debate on how we fund the DNC. And I think the real thing is, how do we create a level of trust with the Democratic voter and the Democratic potential voter? And if they believe that we're not their party because somebody else is pulling the strings because somebody else is writing the check, then that undermines our ability to build that trust relationship. I want to have a debate within the DNC on, okay, if we do ban lobbyist money, how are we going to make it up? How are we going to get the rest of the money? That's a question too. You just can't say what you want to ban. You got to say how we're going to deal with it, because why do politicians go to lobbyists to get money? Because they have some of it. We need money to run the party. We got to pay staff. We got to run campaigns. There's resources raising this got to do. But Bernie proved that $27 at a time, you can fuel a campaign. So I definitely believe that it is fair to question whether somebody who has a financial stake in a certain outcome is the best source for us to fund our party on. But rather than just come across and be another person who's just dictating stuff, I'd rather encourage a debate within the DNC and Democrats generally to raise serious questions about how do we fund our party, because we got to fund it. And is all money good money? Some people might think it's not. And I think it's fair for them to say so and to stand up for their point and for us to have a real conversation.
It's all about conversation.
It's got to be.
Thanks for having a conversation with us tonight.
Anytime, Nomi.
Good luck.
All right.
We'll be watching all weekend.
Okay, you got it. Say hi to Jink and Anna Kasparian and all the gang on TYT. I listen to you guys.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're on my podcast.
I love it.
And you
That's
guys crank them out like once a week, so I'm
And the YouTube. It's everywhere now.
You're like ubiquitous.
See, you're going to be at a commercial now. You're going to be all over the place. Keith Ellison endorses TYT.
Tune into TYT. Have you heard the latest?
Thanks, Congressman.
Thanks, Nomi.
Appreciate it.
You got it.